Way back in 1993, the mighty Morphin Power Rangers were everywhere. There was a live-action TV show on the Fox network. There were action figures and playsets from Bandai. You also saw the Rangers on everything from lunchboxes, backpacks, and even freaking coffee mugs. They were everywhere, and though I was too old by that point to pay it any mind, it hooked both my younger sisters who absolutely loved it. Among all that merchandise came the inevitable video games based on the IP. Like many games back then, you got entirely different experiences based on the hardware you owned. The first Super Nintendo game was a side-scrolling beat-em-up, similar in style to Final Fight. The Sega Genesis got a one-on-one fighting game like Street Fighter. The Sega CD version was a full-motion video game that used the actors from the television show. There were even unique versions for the Game Boy and Game Gear. In today's episode, we are covering the Sega Genesis version specifically, and seeing what that was all about. Sega published it themselves and released it in late 1994 on a 16 megabit cartridge. Was it any good, and is it worth playing today? Let's find out. The story here is just like the TV show. The evil Rita Repulsa and her minions are trying to take over the Earth. Fortunately for us, a team of teenage defenders called the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers are here to stop them. These chosen warriors have the ability to turn into martial arts masters to deal with Rita and her band of goons. They also have the ability to pilot vehicles called Dinozords, which combine Voltron style into the mighty Megazord. There is also a Green Ranger, but he has been fooled into helping Rita. There are two main modes of play. There is the scenario mode, which is essentially the single-player story mode, complete with cinematics to explain what's going on. Then there is the battle mode, which is more or less the multiplayer mode where you can battle against a friend. In the scenario mode, you get to choose from the main team of heroes, the red, black, blue, pink, and yellow Rangers, each with their own special movesets. Once you battle one-on-one with the enemy and defeat them, you then get to battle the larger, superpowered version of that enemy in your Megazord. Once you win there, you get to choose a different Ranger to face your next opponent, and the process repeats. In this mode, you can also unlock the Green Ranger and his Dragon Zord. In the battle mode, two players have access to the Rangers, the bad guys, and their larger variants. While each character here has their own moves, the core gameplay has a number of important mechanics you need to learn. There is a retreat by double pressing back away from the opponent. There is a dash to an opponent by pressing forward twice. Blocking is just like Street Fighter by pressing away from your opponent when they attack. You can deflect incoming projectiles by double tapping forward, then hitting both of your attack buttons. That's right, there are just two attack buttons here to worry about, A and B. Button A is your normal attack, while button B is your fierce attack. All of your special moves can be performed with either button, and during gameplay, button C has no use at all. While Mighty Morphin Power Rangers does support the Sega 6-button pad, it does not take advantage of it, and still uses only the two main attack buttons of A and B. You'll notice under your life bar there is another bar, that's the power meter. As your character takes damage, the power meter grows until it begins to flash. The larger your power meter grows, the more damage your special moves do. After a short period, the meter will drain again. The matches have a timer similar to other one-on-one fighters, but you can turn it off in the options. Also in the options is a difficulty setting, a controller configuration, and a sound test.
I must have that new Sega Power Rangers game! Goldar, steal it for me!
No wonder Rita wants that game. Look at those graphics!
Woo! And those moves!
Check out those battle zones! Let's go, Goldar! Sorry, Rita. You'll have to buy it like everyone else.
Huh? Sega!
Power Rangers for Sega Genesis. Also available for Game Gear and Sega CD. All sold separately.
Visually, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for the Genesis does a decent job of bringing the show to life in 16-bit form. The Rangers look like they should, as do the enemies and the larger robots. The color doesn't have any noticeable deficiencies, and the backgrounds have a number of layers to give them a decent feeling of depth. I must say I was a little disappointed in the animation. While there are 12 fighters to choose from here, there is not a ton of moves per character, roughly 3 or 4 at most. There are also not a lot of stages to battle on, just 6 by my count. Yet all these guys and gals move in a very pre-Street Fighter II way, with very simple frames for every action. For 16 megabits, you would have at least expected Streets of Rage 2 level animation, but we don't get that either. There is a fair bit of digitized speech, so maybe that added to the ROM size significantly, but I wouldn't say Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is a special game in the animation department. I do like the colorful visuals otherwise, and I think for most fans of the show, this will do just fine. It won't be knocking Special Champion Edition from its perch, but it gets the job done. Sound is an area I felt was a bit underwhelming. The theme song is recognizable, the voice work is garbled but understandable, and most of the tracks and sound effects are average. It was developed by a Japanese team that did not use the GEM sound driver, and I must say I was expecting more from it. It isn't terrible by any means, just below the standards of what normally came out of Japan. Let's have a listen to a few examples. Just a few seconds into Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for the Genesis, and it was clear to me that this was a fighting game developed for younger gamers and newbies to the genre. It's not just the 2-button interface, the simple and limited movesets, or the small roster of enemies in the story mode. It's also the lack of a meaningful combo system and simplistic AI. If you have any experience with fighting games coming into this, you should absolutely destroy it on levels 1 through 4 of its difficulty. At its highest difficulty of 8, the CPU is faster and more aggressive, not smarter, and becomes quite cheap, especially since every other move knocks you down. But honestly, complaining about any of that in a fighting game aimed at pre-teens is pretty much pointless. What is here is exceptionally easy to pick up and play. It's true every fighter only has 3 or 4 moves, but those moves are pulled off with simple Street Fighter II-like commands that should be easy for most players. There's even a number of charge moves for the kids that are really young, so they can at least pull off some of the specials. It's also colorful and sounds okay for the most part. The aforementioned animation is a bit anemic and there aren't a lot of backgrounds, but for fans of the show, everything here looks and sounds just like it should. If I had to level any real critique at it, it would be for its extremely short story mode. This could have benefited from additional storyboards, a few Putty Patrol enemy battles, and maybe even some type of unique Rita Repulsa boss encounter at the end when you assault her stronghold. But ultimately, for a kid's game, I don't think it's really all that bad. Most youngsters probably loved the hell out of this back in the 90s, and newer fans will appreciate the easy to pick up play mechanics. It covers the central story and characters of those early episodes well, and just about anyone can pick it up and do well on the easy settings. I came away feeling like the developers tried to mimic the original Fatal Fury without the ludicrous difficulty. If that appeals to you, it may be worth a try. While I took it easy on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for the Genesis, the media of the day did not. Most of the US-based magazines I follow did not recommend it very highly. GamePro slammed it for having weak gameplay and said watching the TV show was a whole lot more fun. Game Players said fans of the show will love it, but Street Fighter II and Mortal Kombat vets will find it laughable. Even the UK-based Sega magazine went hard on it, calling it a poor game that cashed in on the hype. I must confess that this was definitely aimed at fans of the show, and was not looking to set a standard for licensed video games. Indeed, hardcore fighting fans will go into this looking for something they are not gonna find: a deep and varied fighting game. This fighting engine needed some of the moves to link together, or maybe a few simple 2 and 3 hit combos that resembled a little bit of depth to learn. With that said, for many of you, especially those of you with kids, I recommend you give this game a bit of a chance. That 2-button interface was made for newbies, and it's good fun seeing the youngsters being able to play a fighting game without being absolutely terrorized by their older siblings. If you are a fan of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, it may interest you to know there were more games in the series published by Sega on their platforms, and some of them are quite well done. I'll drop a link to my Mighty Morphin Power Rangers retrospective so you can see which ones may be for you. I'm Sega Lord X. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you next time.